Hello and welcome, yes, welcome to the Relationship Theory. Here we take folks in, we break them down, we build them up, and we play them out. Today, we have a very special vlog for you. Today, this is 96.5. It's going to be called And Then I Met Teal Swan. Okay, hey, let me start out with this. If you do not know Teal Swan, you're going to want to hop over to either YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or any social media website or like .com, because honestly, she's all over the place. But if I might give you a small breakdown, she deals with relationships. She talks about relationships much like I talk about relationships in this, the Relationship Theory. She just really gets into the nitty-gritty. She deals with a lot of the things that I actually talk about. I just personally find that she has a sense of humor about the way that she does it, or she just has a way that she delivers her messages that many people appreciate, I included. That said, everyone, I met Teal Swan. I went to her workshop just yesterday. For me, it was an all-day experience. I came from Virginia. I had a trip that very morning, very early morning, pretty much in the night. I took a bus up to New York, and I arrived at around 7 in New York, and then I took a train because it was in Long Island up, and then I walked, and then I arrived at the location. It was the space in Westbury. Okay, traveling aside, because it was actually really long, and I was tired by the end of that, by the way. But anyway, I found my way to the space at Westbury. The doors opened at 10 o'clock. Well, the doors were open way before that, but the show was starting around 10 o'clock. It really started about 10:12, 10:15. The preparations were underway. They were getting the things going, and when the time arrived, by her very sweet guests and ushers and assistants and supporters and those who helped provide a way for us to make sure we were taken care of. Also, thank you very much. You guys were very sweet. I felt each and every one of your hearts, so thank you for that. And the time came. I found my seat. I sat around a few strangers. To my left, they became family. To my right, they stayed strangers. But that's okay. You don't need to know everyone. Or you won't. Knowing me, I'd love to know everybody, but hey, so there that is. To my left, Diamond and Haley, I'm talking to, and there she is. Walks across that stage. Everyone's amazed. Okay, so maybe no one noticed this, but I did. So she came to the center of the stage. The clapping ensued. A few people stood up, and slowly people started like clapping. But then there was a moment where she stood there with her hands crossed. She didn't move her body, but I felt something in the back of my head switch. And it was like a, hello guys, I am here. I am here, guys. And immediately I noticed everyone started clapping even louder. They all stood up. The applause was roaring. So that made me laugh. It was like, she's like, hello. Hi. There it goes. The show begins. There was a very epic message just before she came on stage, and it was pretty much a preview of the last 2 videos that she had posted. So that was a really good primer. That got everybody to the same level as if they were paying attention, as far as what she was going to deal with, as far as our present timeline where everyone is nowadays. So that was wonderful. We get started. She goes on for just a little bit. Naturally, I'd understand if she's talking about relationships, she's going to stick with how to represent relationships. She's going to represent that by being very communal and community focused. So what does she do? Well, she invites people on stage. This is my first time, by the way. So I'm really just going through each and every piece of this. So she's inviting people on the stage. The first person who came up was Lauren, And I've got to tell you guys, I really enjoy things like what happened. But let me slow down and let me just go through it before I get really excited and jump ahead of myself. So yes, a lady from, it seems like New Jersey, she gets called up on stage. Teal picks her from the very, very back. Wonder how she was seen, I don't know. Here we are, everyone is sitting around and she's up there on the stage with Teal talking to her just about the way that she feels or the way that she thinks. While they're engaging, I'm sitting in my seat, rocking back and forth, practically shuddering, full of, I wouldn't say anxiety, but we might as well call it, if you're looking from the outside in, stuttering and shaking and shivering, and there's just something wrong with me, but I know better than that. Nothing wrong with me. But while I was listening to their conversation and the questions that Teal was offering, or the statements that Teal was offering, it would appear that Lauren was either waiting for Teal to give her exactly what she needed to hear, aka validation, or she just wasn't picking up on the feeling that she felt that Teal was really drawing out, or at least trying to. Unfortunately, throughout that whole ordeal, I didn't get what I wanted, which was Lauren actually picking out what it was that she felt, that everyone felt. See, what I realized in the middle of that very first, let's call it an act. It's not an act, but this is what it felt like to me, because I'm pretty sure that Teal set it up so that when people are engaging, there's the idea of consciousness. Yes, there's two people on stage, Teal and someone else, yes, as far as consciousness. And then there's everyone else being onlookers, another part of the consciousness. But we are all still one, though separate, observing this. And what I realized was it was a sort of a play. It was a sort of a play because Lauren's interacting with someone who is open and being provisional and supportive. But then you have the people who were not on stage who are listening. We're listening, we're the onlookers, and we're pretty much where Lauren is coming from as far as her feelings. So for me, it was really tearing me apart, because what it seemed like is she was overlooking the fact that, one, she felt the way that she felt, and then two, that everyone else feels the way that she does too, as if she's the only one. Now, Teal picked on this, of course, but she wasn't the only one who felt the feelings. Everyone else did. But for some reason, she was owning every part of the sentiment and the sensations that came out of her. And me, that was really killing me, because you know what that means to me? It means invalidation. It means I wasn't getting any satisfaction. I just wasn't. So I'm really sitting there and shaking and shivering, because like, I know the answer. I can tell what she's feeling, and she just won't say it. And every time Teal gets close enough to it, it's almost like she doesn't see it. I understand, though, it's the things that are the closest that you tend to not really see, but it's more so you're not trained enough to pay attention to that which is directly in your face. But anyway, that experience was over. I didn't get what I wanted, and it was lunchtime already. That means we started at 10, what was it, 1 o'clock, just about. It was 3 hours. It was 3 hours getting to that moment. So I'm emotionally constipated, and now I'm eating food. I met up with a few people, and my skin was burning. My skin was burning so much, because what I understood through that one conversation, that one interaction between Teal and Lauren, was that it was the anger, it's the guilt, it's the blame that you feel for other people looking like they have it all together, and you're the one who doesn't, as if it's your fault that you don't have it all together. That's what Lauren was taking on, and that's what a lot of people that were in the audience, they were also taking on, that feeling like it's our fault for not making our problems look good. Just ghastly, I have got to say. Absolutely ghastly. Terrified, horrified, shocked, I got to tell you. So there that was, and it was really nice though. The people that I met, they were really, really cool. Now, knowing me, I have this production channel, I have TRT, I do music, and so I talk about emotions and things like that all the time. So I don't imagine everyone is like me. So at the very same time, the people I'm hanging around, they were nice, but they didn't feel what I felt. So you can just imagine how on fire my body was, because I'm the only one who has to validate this feeling of knowing what someone feels and refuses to say. Just say it, guys. Say how you feel. Anyway. Okay. So, fast forward, we go back in, and the rest of the show goes as it does. She just keeps pulling people up, and they're supposed to be representations of how each people feel about themselves and about other people and about onlookers and the audience, and I could just see how it all plays out. So honestly, if we fast forward through this entire experience, for me, I have got to tell you that it was illuminating for me, not enlightening, not like I realized something and finally I have a revelation about. No, guys, I talk about this stuff all the time. So for me, when I say illuminating, I really just mean I get to see people open up about things that really, for me, ought to be a normal, natural part of a conversation. You feel the way you feel, okay, but it's just the way you feel right now. It's just a feeling, guys. We think our feelings are thoughts, and when we confuse them to be thoughts, we think that we have to build something. But then when you build your feelings, which you think are thoughts, on negative or shaky ground, of course you're going to be upset when everything falls, right? It's a deck of cards on sand. Fine. But that's just not how that works. But anyway, I call it illuminating because I loved being able to see people explore their emotions with someone else. It's a privilege that I do not get when I live my own life. Everyone just wants to be hard and difficult and strong and making their problems look good. And I personally have no issue. I have no desire to do any of that. Not an issue. But I have no desire. I just don't have a desire to make my crap look good. If it's crap, it's crap. And that's exactly where I leave it. So if you ask me if I'm okay, I'll tell you I'm not okay. That doesn't mean I want to do anything about it. It just means I'm not okay. But even that is something that people have a hard time with. And I want to add that it was like a TV drama, series, show thing for me because, well, one, I had to pay for it. This is the way, if I back up and look at this again, if I really consider this, I had to pay for people to express themselves. Now, I know that this is the kind of thing that we do when we go to movies. Effectively, you're paying for an actor to express themselves the way their character needs them to represent them. And so, okay, but is it so hard for everyone to understand that we're not actors all of the time? And so it shouldn't make sense for us to pay to be in each other's space where we actually release? To release ought to be a very, very natural thing that no one has to pay for. There is no cost. There is no price, people. There is absolutely no price for being yourself and for expressing emotion. Emotions don't have a price. They just don't. Overall, that's my real experience of this, and that's why I was actually so happy to be in this space, aside from having to pay for it, being able to feel people. I understand that they haven't really dug through their feelings enough to get to the point where they realize, oh, it is just a feeling, and I don't have to think about this all day, neither do I have to live like this. But it was still nice overall to be in a space where people are letting go of themselves. Also, it's really nice to see Teal Swan's humor up front, because that's the one thing I really appreciate about her the most. I know that she has to talk to people and to get through these emotions and feelings with them and the thoughts that get in the way of them feeling what they feel, but then Teal, while interacting with people, still finds a way to laugh, or at least to enjoy herself. I guess I'm imagining that I understand how difficult and hard the work is, and even though me and Teal have two different perspectives and experiences and desires as far as what we want out of humanity, there's still something that I relate with to her, and that is what that is. So I love the humor, Teal, that you offer to the space. Even if no one else is laughing, just know I'm laughing with you. And at the end of it, I got to hug Teal. Now, I have to add this one small bit about the hugs. And again, ushers and the greeters and the people who were helping selling merch, you guys were very, very supportive, happy, open. I could feel those hearts, so shout out to you. You really made those lines go quick. We're all waiting in line, And we're about to give our hugs and say bye to Teal. Well, we weren't going to say bye. There was nothing you could really say. I noticed, and maybe no one else did, but I certainly did, Teal. I felt this. Because I imagine you know, and I feel like I'm speaking directly to Teal. If you're ever watching this video, I'm speaking directly to you. I imagine you know how energy functions. I imagine that you have a certain idea of how energy expresses itself from within you and to someone else, as I do. So no, when I walked up to you, I felt something electric, but it wasn't just electric. I felt like there was this wall that I walked past once I got within proximity to you. I felt that, certainly did. And once I was inside, then we hugged and I said thank you and we took our pictures and then I walked away. But also after I walked away, not only did I feel that it was like a barrier that I walked past, but also I noticed and I saw this shining light, a shining light from within the barrier, and the barrier itself was actually full of color, like a rainbow. That's what I saw. So I felt that and I saw that, and knowing me, I'm a feeler before a thinker. So whatever happened, I let the feelings overwhelm me, pass through me, and do what it did. And so I imagine with the way that you felt, and I imagine with you looking at the people the way you did, and when you saw me, you knew what it was. And I imagine that I knew what it was for me to you as well. So thank you. You told me exactly what you needed to tell me. I might not be everybody that was in the audience or who came onto the stage, but thank you regardless. I got the message. Will do. Appreciate you. And onward. So that was really just the rest of that event. I got to hang out with a few people afterwards, but overall, this was just glorious for me. This was honestly just glorious. I guess one of the biggest things that I got out of this is understanding how to move forward. And effectively, there was the validation that it was okay to move forward, but I was actually already on that path. You just doubled down on what it was that I've been journaling about and writing about and thinking about and feeling about. Well, not feeling about. There that was. There it was, everyone. I've got my new path. I've been on it. It's always nice to hear someone validate exactly what you know and where you're headed, even if you're not sure yourself. Again, thank you, Teal. Again, thank you everyone who helped her, who supported her. Know that you're noticed. Just because you're around someone prominent and that other people know, it doesn't mean that you don't have a very important role to play, or at least that people don't see you, because I saw you. Because you're in this video for the rest of eternity. Jokes aside, I met Teal and I got to hug her. And it was honestly amazing. And I love how on Instagram, on the Relationship Theory, there was a video that I shared from her and I pasted it. It was about how everyone is going from interdependent to independent. And it just so happened that the Teal Swan page liked that. They liked it and they reposted it on the stories. I never forgot that. And here I am meeting Teal in real life. I loved that I got to experience this, and I love that I got to experience the people who are invested in your work. Keep up the good work, Teal. Everyone needs validation. Everyone needs that good word that they're doing what they're doing, even if they know that they don't have to have it. So good work, Teal. Good work, team. Let's all keep going. That is going to be this very special episode of And I Met Teal Swan. I'll talk to you soon and enjoy the rest of your day.